We're taking a look at the brand new Trident guitar processor from NUX. Are you ready? We're gonna jump right into it and unsleeve this box. You can see the NUX shiny logo on the inside, which makes it look very sexy indeed. And the double sleeve makes it look expensive, more expensive than you would expect it to be, I think. I like that because it also protects the insides a little bit better. And look at all that foam. You don't have to worry about it getting damaged. And there's a few goodies in here as well. Let's pull this thing out. Let's get it out of the box and pull off the plastic so we can have a better look, shall we? It does come complete with the instructions and quick start guide, good sleepy time reading when you can't fall asleep, but I'm more interested in taking a look at the unit. So let's get this thing unwrapped, shall we? Ah, there it is in all its glory. Beautiful case, nice weight to it, and all of the knobs and buttons that you can tinker with to get all the sounds you want. It does come with a little box that has the wall wart as per usual, and it also comes complete with adapters as well as a small USB cable if you want to plug this thing in and use the editing software to edit all of your sounds. Now they threw in some nifty little knob toppers, which I love. A great little touch. These things do make it easier to hit those switches when the unit's on the floor, and it does also protect them a little bit. Nobody likes to scuff up those little switches. I love these things. After you hit the power button, the Trident logo appears on the small screen, including version 1.00 firmware being loaded. You can always check to see if there's anything more recent out there and available, but immediately you can see some very cool sounds. We have a diesel, we have fusion lead, and we have heavy rhythm and a whole bunch more, including the ones that you can edit yourself. This unit has no lack of cool sounds at all, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Well, I can vouch that this unit feels like it's built to last. All the switches and knobs and enclosures feel solid. It does have the usual reverb, delay, and modulation effects, but also includes boost, an effects loop, as well as a tuner. And yes, those little micro switches are still there, so you can tweak to your heart's content and get the sounds exactly as you want them to be. I'm also happy to report that they have not skimped out on any of the ins and outs behind the unit, including the master volume, auxiliary in, and most importantly, that little power button that always gets forgotten. Okay, we're going to get into the good stuff now. We're going to listen to what you can actually achieve with this unit, and I'm going to be showing you all of this through the software interface. The reason why I'm showing you the software interface is because I strongly believe that given the choice, probably 80 to 90% of you will prefer to use the software that comes with this unit because it is much easier. It's very intuitive, and it's a lot easier than fiddling around with the knobs on the actual device. Plus, I want to give you an opportunity to see what the software offers. So once you download the software from the NUX website, I strongly recommend that you update your firmware to the latest and greatest. You can see what firmware you're running by clicking on the little settings tab here at the top right, which is basically a little gear. And if you open that up, you can see here on the bottom left a version and a firmware. The version is 2.01, and that is the software that we're running for the editor. The firmware is 2.01 as well, and it does offer a few additional features, effects, pedals, and whatnot, so you'll be running the latest and greatest. Once that is confirmed, you can just verify your recording levels and playback levels here. Make sure they're about midway. I'm leaving the routing option to normal. Just note that you do have a reamp option and a dry out option as well if you want to play around with that. And my knob control is set to straight, which basically means I can just roll my mouse straight up and down to change the settings on the knobs, and I don't have to move it in a round circular motion. Okay, so once we have that, just click OK, and we're ready to look at the interface. All right, nicely done, I gotta say. It gives you everything you need at a glance, and it doesn't seem overwhelming at all. So on the left hand side here, you have a list of patches that are factory default. If you scroll all the way down, you see that there's 32, and each number has 3 associated sounds to it. Anybody here is good at math, just do 32 times 3 and you know exactly how many slots you have available, which is quite a lot. If you click on any of these, you can see that you will jump to the associated sound, which includes its very own amplifier, cabinet, microphone on in many instances. Sometimes you might not see a microphone there. You will also see at the very top here the actual signal chain with all of the pedals and effects here associated with each one of these amplifiers. So if I take one to start off with, let's say I click on 7B, which is Pete BE100, which seems to be a Friedman Brown Eye 100. You can see at the top here we have the controls for the amplifier, everything from presence, treble, middle, bass, master, gain. We also have a power amp section here, which allows us to play with the bias and the level settings. And then we have a cabinet associated with this amplifier, along with a microphone on a stand. And each and every one of these options is tweakable and configurable. Just know that if you make any changes to your settings, you have to hit the little save icon here, which looks like a little floppy drive. Otherwise, when you switch over to another setting and go back to the one you were on, it will not be what you had edited. It will just be the factory default. Okay, if we look at the settings here at the top, all of the pedals that you have here are either on or off. If they're on, you see the solid pedal. If they're off, you see a grayed out shape. If you click on any of these, you have access to the knobs directly on each one of the pedals. If it's grayed out, you can still see the pedal here, but it's not activated because the little light switch is off. If you turn it on, the light goes on and it becomes solid. Now, if I right click on any of these, you can see the alternate options that I have at my disposal. In this case, the effects block allows me to use a red comp, a K comp, a studio comp, Dr. Q, a wah, pitch bender, or harmony. So it's a combination of different types of effects. You also are able to switch any of these pedals around. So if you want to take this one, which is the delay, and put it before your reverb, you just have to grab it and move it. If you want to take your reverb and put it before your EQ, you can also do that. Now, if I go to something else here, let's say I go into this one, which is Pete's SLO, which is basically looks to be a Soldano 100. Turn up my guitar here and just strum a few things. Pretty nice saturated sound. Sounds like a Soldano to me. Now you can hear by the fact that there's no hum, there's no buzzing or anything. There is a noise gate involved in this patch. The noise gate does an excellent job. If I turn it off, you will immediately hear more hum. Let me just turn it off and be quiet so you can hear that. So there you go. If I strum something now, so you can hear the string noise. If I just tap that and turn it back on, that all goes away. You can play around with the sensitivity and the decay and make sure you have it set the way you like it. Now, if you want to change anything else, you can just scroll back and forth on all of these and set them the way you want. The EQ here is quite nice because you do have the ability to just take the EQ here if you want to modify it and just play around with it. So I'll give you a little sense of what that does. So if I strum a chord, for example, it becomes a lot thinner. depending on how you have these set. So you can do quite a bit with the EQ here, and you can also mess up your sound very quickly if you don't know what you're doing. So I would recommend that you experiment with this a little bit before you go too crazy with it and get your sounds sounding all wonky. Let's jump to a different sound here. We have the BE100 that we looked at previously here. And if we go to the actual amplifier, and I'll play something for you with this sound, you can hear the difference. Very nice full sound, and what I really like about this is the delay and the reverb and the way it makes it sound nice and big. Now you don't necessarily need a distortion pedal, although this sound is using a booster here. The actual amplifier itself has plenty of gain on tap. You can actually just pump up the gain here. So if I just turn off the booster for a second here, you can hear what it sounds like without the booster engaged. If I turn the gain all the way down, you don't hear anything. So it's got to have at least a little bit of gain dialed in. Now if I turn the gain all the way to 100, very nice full gain there, and of course you can dial all of that into your liking as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you also have the ability to take the microphone here, and we can move it to the edge, the middle, or the center of the speaker, and I'll just make you hear what that sounds like. So let's say I'm strumming a chord here. So you can hear how it changes the dynamics of the sound that you're hearing, and you can further edit your sound by changing the microphone. So if I select something here other than the SM57, I can select number 4, which is the C414. You can hear the difference in the sound as well. So let me just strum something for you here. So you can see how much thicker the sound became when I had it on the C414 as opposed to the SM57, which is relatively, let's say, more of a thin sounding microphone. So let's look at something that is a little bit more on the clean sound here. We have Pete's Deluxe Reverb. See, very nice sounding deluxe reverb. Now the modulation effect here is a beautiful chorus pedal here, chorus ensemble, and you can switch between chorus and vibrato depending on what you want to do with it. So if let's just play around with this a little bit and see what kind of sounds we get. So this is without, and this is with. Now what I like is that if you strum harder, you do have some breakup, kind of like a real amplifier, which is really, really nice. Now, if we play around with the reverb here, we do have the beautiful plate reverb, which I like a lot. But if I want to change that up and maybe use a shimmer reverb, it'll give you a slightly different flavor. This one will give you a lot more top end to it. So you can hear the shimmer as the note dies out. It adds top end to it, and I'll just pump that up so you can hear it a little bit better. Very nice. I do feel like all of the reverbs are really great sounding. The delays are awesome as well. If you want to play around with those, you can get some really nice ethereal type sounds. Now, the analog delay here is nice also because when it dies out, it basically gives you a little bit of a deterioration in the repeat. So I'll make you hear what that sounds like. And I'll turn off the reverb here for a second. Let me just turn that off for you. This way you can hear the delay better here. So let's go back here. So I feel like all of the modulation and effects on this unit are really, really nice. I love the tape echo. I like the pan delay as well. Now, if I want to get crazy, I can do other things here. I can get a nice Van Halen sound right from this effect right here, which is a diesel amplifier, but it sounds really nice. Now you can't really do the Van Halen sound without adding a little bit of delay on there. The reverb on here is quite low, so we'll just turn that up a little bit. And for modulation, why not throw in a phase 90? Now again, these are all sounds that are factory default, so I haven't edited any of these. I'm just showing you what they sound like, just clicking around here. But if you like to play around with your sounds, you can go crazy and modify them to your liking. Now this particular sound, if you play around with the bias as well, it kind of changes the feel. Beautiful sounding, nice, fat, lush JCM 800 sounds really nice. So if you're looking for those jangly blues sounds, we have that in there as well. We have the ambient clean sounds. We have fusion sounds. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here, and depending on what you like, whether it's gritty or not, you can get the sounds from this particular unit very, very easily. What more can I say? I think the Trident does an excellent job of providing everything that you need in a small, convenient package. They definitely took this one step further than the Cerberus. For those of you who have the Cerberus, I do feel like this would be a very worthwhile upgrade because it does do a whole lot more. And I like the fact that they took all the good stuff from the Cerberus and just went a little bit further with it. And they didn't get rid of the stuff that we liked, the usable knobs right here, the fact that it's easy to use if you're coming from the world of regular pedals and jumping into a multi-effects unit like this one, you will feel right at home because everything is tweakable right from the knobs on the unit. Everything feels solid. You can gig with this. You can use it at home for recording. It can replace a DAW if you don't already have one, or you're traveling, you don't have to carry two devices. You can just do it all from here. And most importantly, I think they did an excellent job of keeping all of the essential ins and outs. I like the fact that there is a foot switch option here for an external expression pedal. They kept that. I like the fact that they kept the power knob. Sometimes, for whatever reason, people don't add a power button here. Why wouldn't you want to have a power button? I had an excellent time bringing you this video. I enjoyed this product thoroughly. I think they did an excellent job taking all of the great stuff that we enjoyed with the Cerberus and bringing it even further with the Trident. They kept all the good stuff and made it even better. They didn't make it complicated. Very user-friendly device. Everything conveniently in one box that is very durable. You can gig with this, no issues. I would not hesitate using this in a live situation. Feels extremely solid and well put together. Plenty of switches here to make it very easy and convenient in a live scenario. I like the fact that they have all of the tweakable knobs right here. So if you're coming from the world of regular pedals and jumping into a multi-effects for the first time, you will not feel like you're in some weird environment because everything is very familiar. More importantly is the fact that they kept all of the essential in and out right in the back here, including the very, very versatile and very important switch here. 3, 2, 1. What else can I say, guys? This is a very convenient, well thought out unit from NUX. I love what they did with this device. I was a big fan of the Cerberus, and now this one takes it even further without making things complicated. That's what I love the most about this unit. If you're coming from the world of regular pedals and jumping into the world of multi-effects for the first time, you will not feel like you're in some alien environment because everything is very tweakable right from here. If you enjoy hands-on tweakability, you have all of that. If you like the software-based editing, you can do that with your computer just by plugging this in with a regular USB. I love the fact that this also acts as a DAW, so you don't need to carry multiple units when you're on the road. You can just grab this and you have everything that you need to record through a laptop or a PC. And more importantly, they did not remove any of the very important ins and outs that was on the original unit. They even have the expression pedal here, the direct out, so you can go directly to your board and everything else that you would want, including the power switch. Something as basic as a power switch often gets left off these units for whatever reason. I don't know why. I prefer a power switch whenever possible. So with this little device, you have all your bases covered. It sounds fantastic. I really love the great sounding reverbs and delays, and everything works extremely well. No surprises with the software, no glitches. So it's a run and gun type device that I think everybody should at least try and see if it's right for you. I think if you try this in your local shop, you might come home with one, just as I did. If you have comments you want to share with us, you know what to do. Share them below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. You'll be missing out. More to come. See you soon.